Okay, so I look at about 1,000 landing pages every week. I get the guys in IT to give me a dump of screenshots of all the published pages, and then I click on every ad I ever see. So I see a lot of pages, and it's pretty horrific. They're generally really bad across the board. So, and I try and look at so many so I can spot trends and see what people are doing wrong. So I hate rules, but I had to write a manifesto. I needed 10 rules to try and help people be better. So there are 5 good ones and 5 bad ones. If you see the Keep Austin Weird t-shirt design, this is something you should be doing. If you see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is something you shouldn't be doing. Okay? So there's one fundamental principle that I want you to kind of understand before I get started. But for some reason, I have a hard time communicating it. So I reached out to a few of my friends to see if they could do it for me.
Some quactable. Nasam quadulp.
Nasam qualdup.
Nasam qualdup. Nasam quadulp.
Nasam qualdup.
Nasam quadulp.
Nasam qualdup.
Nasam quadulp.
Okay, they're not very good at it either. What they're trying to say is this. So what this means is never start a marketing campaign without a dedicated landing page. So I'm just talking about standalone landing pages. I'm not talking about your website. That's for other people. So that's all I'm talking about. So we're here at Conversion XL Live. I don't know if you know, but the XL stands for extra lucrative. Right? But I'm rebranding that today. It's extra love. So 2 things. One thing is that you can go to this URL later on. There are certain exercises and some templates for how to do some of the things I'm going to talk about there. You can download them. They're like Google Docs. They'll help you do some stuff. And the second part is that not all conversions are equal, right? You can get a conversion. That's fine. But what if someone doesn't enjoy themselves on the way? Like, I want the ebook, but this is kind of shitty, but I'm going to get the ebook anyway, blah, blah. Or they have a delightful experience where the page is nicely designed, the copy is delightful, it's a joy to do that. You get the same conversion, but your opportunity for having a customer for life or something like that is much higher. So that's what I'm going to talk about, adding a bit of delight into your pages. This is an affliction that most marketers and designers have. This is called horror vacui, which is fear of empty spaces. So look, there's a nice little space there. What are we going to do with that? We're going to put a fucking banner in it. It's just and this is more common than you'd think. So people are impatient on the web. We know this. Everyone has attention deficit disorder. So we have to combat bad ADD with good ADD. So that's attention-driven design. And so let's look at this again. And why is this a bad experience? It's going to take a while. Right, the attention ratio here is 82:1, and that's just above the fold. Attention ratio, this is the ratio of things you can do on a given page to the number of things you should be doing. And with a marketing campaign, we're talking about marketing campaigns here. We're not talking about your website, just marketing campaigns. You should only have to be doing one thing. There's one goal. So you should be aiming for a ratio of 1:1. Download the ebook, register for a webinar, start a free trial, request a callback. Always one goal for a campaign. So here's a little test to illustrate this. Here's an ebook download page. That's the conversion goal. That's all we want you to do. And then here's some other useful stuff. This is like thinking like Amazon, right? If you like this, you'll also like this. This is great. I mean, we should be designed to be helpful. Tested against just the single conversion goal, 10:1, 1:1, 31% increase in downloads. Now, why is that? That was really helpful stuff. Well, we're not trying to be helpful. This is not Wikipedia. We shouldn't be linking somewhere else from, I want you to be here. Don't try and be useful. Being useful is not helpful. That doesn't really make any sense. As the attention ratio goes down, your conversion rates go up. Now, the most common question I get about this is, are there any exceptions? Well, yeah, there's always an exception. So the exception is when you have multiple links with the same goal. Right? Think if you have a long landing page, you repeat your call to action. That's perfectly okay because it has the same goal. It's doing the same thing. So here's an example of that. This is a landing page course. Now, the red button at the top, that's all I want you to do. And there's a chapter list going down here. And this one, we just linked up all the chapters. It's just a simple click-through page. We want you to get through to the course. These all have the same goal, so that's good. 12 to 1, 1 to 1, 15% lift, because they have the same goal. Okay, so that's the simplest principle for focusing attention, is to make the attention ratio low. There are other design principles you can use too. This is a soccer match where this team hasn't scored a goal or won in 5 games. So their fans got together to try and help. Nothing like a little flash mob to... So that's a directional cue, leading the way for people. Here's another one. This UFC fighter, he shaved an arrow in his chest hair. Now, you might think this is dumb, right? You know, punch me in the head. It's actually kind of smart. Getting hit in the liver is way more debilitating than getting hit on your head, which is kind of hard. So maybe he's onto something. What are you supposed to look at here? That's pretty obvious, I think. So here's a pathway. Right? The road takes you up to the top, to the important part. That crappy button color test, green or red. The red one won because of the contrast, right? If I had an orange t-shirt here, I wouldn't stand out. The blue does. So the contrasting color, not just the color. Encapsulation, so the circle of the arch here, the window, forces me to look through it. There's nothing else I can do. From a different angle, though, this is what I want you to be doing. But now the attention ratio has changed because you might be looking at that penis thing over there. So you have to be careful with these things. Anyway, let's combine. In my experience, tweaking one of those little design things doesn't really have a lot of impact. When you put them all together, it can. So here's a form. This is for donating cell phones. So you can either request that they send you an envelope and you put your phone in and send it away, or you can print one out and do that. But it's really hard to tell what's going on this page. You can't even see the buttons, really. It's all just kind of a mishmash. And it looks like it might just be one big form. It's actually 2. So they applied all of those principles. So now the directional cues, you know immediately there are 2 things going on. That simplifies your choices. They're encapsulated, the contrast is there, everything stands out. It's really obvious what you're trying to do. 53% increase in donations. Okay, so number 2, thou shalt not copy your homepage. This is a common mistake. When people start getting into landing pages, they just take what it says on their website, on their homepage, and they throw it on the landing page. If you're doing branded keyword PPC ads, that's fine, because it's just generic, it's the same thing. But typically, now this is, Brian Eisenberg came up with this term, UCP, it's unique campaign proposition. So you have your USP, that's your generic brand message on your website, and your unique campaign proposition is what your campaign's all about. So it's different. Here's an example. So this is a landing page course I wrote, and at the top, there's a little call to action, brought to you by Unbounce, the landing page builder for marketers. It's a subtle little CTA, want people to click that and go sign up. This is where I was sending them. And it's just taken from our homepage. It's our USP. It's bland, it's generic, it's got nothing to do with the campaign. There's a lot of disrespectful marketing going on. People, they set you up and then they take it away. You know, they're not respecting the context that exists prior to the click when they design the experience after the click. So to fix this, at the top, the first thing is, this is like a transition phase, right? So we're coming from here and we're going there. This kind of softens the blow a little bit. I go, oh yeah, I was over here and I'm going there. I understand that. Now here, instead of the generic headlines, how's the landing page course going? It's going amazing. Are you ready to build some high-converting landing pages? Of course I am. It's so good. I'm having a conversation because I understand the context that existed before. And then author reinforcement. So there's my mugshot. That's actually a 10-year-old Backstreet Boys photo. And there's a personal message from me. So the context is that this is an email-driven course. So they're getting emails from me all the time. They see my face, they see my style of writing, my tone, and this is matched on the page. Much, much more delightful and relevant experience. Big lift in the click-through rate on that landing page. And that's because it uses conversation momentum. It takes everything that was happening before the click and it brings it over to the other side in a conversational tone. Okay, number 3, thou shalt be the best at practicing. Now, everybody talks about best practices, how bad they are. I'm kind of up in the air about them. But this is the first question I ask. So, conversion rate optimization best practices. It seems a little silly to be, I don't know, what's the term? Doesn't matter. Okay, my point in here is like usability has been around for a long time, user experience. We've had 20 years for best practices to develop. So, and it's an evolution, right? So this is kind of where everything sits. These are the best practices, and then there's innovation, there's new ideas, and eventually these get better and better and better. They're always a good starting point, but CRO is infantile, really, in comparison, because it's not been really around as long. So here's a really horrible form, but I just want to talk about the end here. Right? A little bit of how we interact with this form. So Jacob Nielsen, grandfather of usability, has his 10 heuristics, one of them being user control and freedom, which means having an escape mechanism from wherever you are. So what would he do in this situation? Okay, well, this is what you can do down here. The cancel button is in the wrong place. That's the dominant, in a left-to-right society, this is the dominant position on the page there, because I want to move forward. But there's a cancel button there. People are going to be clicking that and undoing that form. So, first thing, just reverse that. Subordinate, make it a link. So it's immediately, there's more dominance on the submit button. I'm now understanding what you want me to do. Move it away so nobody clicks it. I call it apologetic design. I mean, look, you fill in this form, and then you say, well, if you change your mind, we can just clear it. That's fine. This is like 1990s kind of thinking. It's really bad. So for conversion, what would I do? I would distract people with my fabulous legs. And I'd just delete the fucking thing. It's useless. Anyway. This is interesting. Everyone talks about friction being the enemy of conversion, which is true for the most part, but there are times when it can be useful. Now, nobody in the world has seen, only 2 people in the world have seen this before. Me and Carl, our CTO. We're starting a big data mining project this year. And it's not ready yet, but I was begging him, I need some data to come to Conversion XL Live. So he stayed up late writing a bunch of custom scripts to pull some data. Now what this is 40,000 active landing pages, and it's the conversion rate according to the number of form fields. Now, what are we looking at? Well, these are the outliers. We don't care about them. This is the mean conversion rate, these lines, and then that's the standard deviation, so the range of values that are going on there. Like I said, this is rough, this is new, but it's really interesting. There's one thing in here that's a really great talking point that I hope we can discuss over the next couple of days. Oh, fun fact, the largest form had 97 fields on it. It's probably a legal document or something. But this is the interesting part. If you look over here, 1 form field versus 2 form fields converts better by 33%. This is not something you can just replicate. It's just interesting. It's a good talking point. And why is that? Well, if you have 1 field, it's email, guaranteed. If you have 2, it's most likely name and email. So is it because it's a bit more personalized that it's working better? Is it because when there's only 1 field, I'm thinking about the fact you're going to email me? When there's 2, maybe less so. I have no clue, but it's interesting. You're going to see how that, And then you've got to think, is it a required field thing? Is it say first name? Does it say full name? Does it just say name? What is it that's making this change just by adding that field? I don't know, but it's really interesting. So, and if that's true, adding a form field, adding friction, increasing conversion rates, that's really interesting. And if you look here as well, it's going up. The conversion rate is going up as we get deeper into a form. Like I say, the sample size isn't big enough, but it's interesting. We have a really novel, unique hiring process at Unbounce. If you send us your resume, we'll just delete it. Won't even look at it. What you have to do, open up a free account, build a landing page, and tell us why we should hire you and why you want to work for us. And immediately, this gets rid of all the people who are just like flinging their resume to every company in town. And only the really exceptional people actually go through that giant hurdle from Michael's photo there. This is one of the ones we got. So someone actually paid, were retargeting us with Facebook ads. So when you click on this ad, it takes you to the landing page he built, where you can get the ebook that he wrote for why we should hire him. I think we're about to hire him, so his work paid off. But that's an incredible amount of effort that someone went through. So friction can be a really good thing. You know, you can get a higher quality of lead or employee. Don't design to acquire customers. Design experience to acquire your ideal customer. It's a little bit different. And sometimes getting in their way is a good thing. Number 5, thou shalt not speak in tongues like a Scottish drunk. Now, I'm allowed to say that because I've been a Scottish drunk many times. The thing is, though, what we say and what people hear is often completely different. A couple of examples.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
And
it's a death row pardon, 2 minutes too late.
that actually would be ironic. Unlike the whole song that was proven by Harvard to not have a single ironic statement in it. I kind of want to hear the rest of the song now.
It's like rain on your wedding day.
It was so easy finding a quote, but communication is a problem. Take a look at this landing page, right? It's long, I'm going to go through it quite quickly. Okay, now we're going to run through an exercise I call the bullshit detector. What I'm going to do, I'm going to act like an impatient web visitor, and I'm going to scan the page quickly, I'm going to read the headlines and the subheads, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to try and figure out what's going on. So I'm going to ask you in a second to close your eyes, and I'm going to read it out, and then when you open your eyes again, if anyone can tell me what the company does, you get $20. Hopefully you won't all get it. That'll be a little obscene. And I wrote on the back of the paper what they actually do, so I can't cheat. Okay, so close your eyes. Amplify your marketing, what you get. We've done the work for you. Relevant, up-to-date content, sign up today, engaging narrated video, cost-effective, sign up today, task-exclusive brands, add-ons, get started, availability is limited, success made simple, submit. All right, anyone? Content marketing? Nope. Video production? Nope. Auto sales, it may as well be. Retirement income websites. I think my money's safe. So, what do they actually do? I just told you that. It took me about 1.5 minutes, though, to read all the way through the fine details to figure it out. So, you weren't alone in not knowing I did a 5-second test on Usability Hub. This is a really great way of finding out if you have a clarity problem. So you just upload a screenshot, and you ask a question. People get 5 seconds to look at your page, and then it shows a question. So the simple one is, what is this page about? Content marketing software, video, like the same kind of thing, investments. And this is a filtered version of no fucking clue, which is very, very common in the response. And 20 people answer. So if 20 people think you're full of shit, there's a good chance you are. It's a really useful clarity problem. Now, I need to read this. So clarity is probably the most important part of conversion. You know, you're communicating your unique campaign proposition for a campaign to a level where the question, what is this page about, delivers consistently accurate results. Disney released a website for this movie, Aqua, and almost immediately they were flooded, like the webmaster. I can't believe they use the term webmaster. The people involved with the website noticed thousands and thousands of people were clicking on the forgot password link. I'm like, huh? What's going on? So they look in the database, and the passwords have like up to 40 letters and numbers in them. Like, why is this happening? So, and this is children that are signing up. So they investigate, they go to the source. Well, what's happening when people are instructed to make their password? Passwords must contain at least 6 characters. These are children, right? They're like, Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Pluto, Snow White, Mowgli, Dumbo. Nobody's going to remember that. So they had a clarity problem. And understanding the context, you know, that it was children and the instructions there, that's how they figured it out. So this is what you do. This is one of the things I've put on that URL. So you get your, like I said, you upload this to Usability Hub, their 5-second test. And I recommend these 3 questions. So what do you think the page is about? You can ask lots of questions in a row, but I don't like doing that because they've only got 5 seconds. They're not going to seen enough for that. Do one at a time. So 20 people get one question, then you do it again for another question. So what do you think this page is about? What will happen if you click the button? And, I can't read this, do you think the page looks trustworthy? And you plot these on a graph. So, you know, nobody knows what the page is about. You're getting all these wrong answers, and then you basically plot the chart, and then you know you have a clarity problem in these certain places. Then you can start rewriting, trying to improve the clarity, and keep running this until you get consistently good results. It's really easy, it's really quick, and yeah, so there is a worksheet up there that helps you do that. Okay, number 6, thou shalt not pass the burden of technology to thy customer. Anyone know what CAPTCHA stands for? I didn't either, I just had to look it up. Completely automatic public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. I think it actually means confusing and potentially traumatic conversion halting activity. This one's a doozy. So this is what you have to, these are the instructions for this CAPTCHA. Please enter all the letters having a cat behind them. Okay. So you have to look through these, literally look through them to see what the animal is. And then this is 4 letters with a cat. Well, there are letters and numbers, so do I look behind them both? I don't know. So let's go. The first one, I think, is a dog. So we're not going to do that. The second one, yeah, that's a cat. We'll put a 6 in there. Next one, that's a dog. That's a cat upside down. That's a cat. That one looks like a dog, the last one, but I only have 1 left, so it has to be that. It's just so ridiculous. And that took about 1.5 minutes to do. No one's going to get through that. So sometimes they're difficult with the friction of how complicated it is. And sometimes it's just an insulting experience. So, well, kill Bieber, that's fine. How about this one? Ignore Texans. If you're from Texas, you probably don't want to type that. What if you're a grandparent humping grandchildren? How they're not going to be able to, it's dirty. They're not going to be able to do it. The problem with CAPTCHAs is they remove the control of your brand experience because you're not in control of what's the messaging that's coming in there. The software is. Here's another interesting one. So at the bottom here, type the color of the first letter, then click the submit button. So what you have to do, you have to look at them, find the first one, figure out which color it is. I hope it's not like morning sunshine marigold or something. And then you have to spell the word in the box. So that's going to ding you just by default. So Google thinks they can solve this problem better, right, with the reCAPTCHA stuff. Apart from the fact that the branding is completely messed up. Nobody knows that this is Google. They can't trust it because of that. But look at their tagline for a minute. Stop spam, read books. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Okay, so they came up with a new one recently. This is a beautiful form. I really like this. But then when you get down, this is their new one, which is supposedly really, really simple, right? All you need to do is click a button to say that you're a human. Well, you're not actually doing that. You're opting in to not being a robot. Like, this is where this is. It's a checkbox, and this is like an email opt-in design. It's totally inappropriate. This was a friend of mine, Guy Robinson, ran a test. 74% less conversions, and he looked at the data, and it was people twice the number of clicks on the submit button there should have been, because they're hitting it once. Like, they don't want to opt into not being a robot, because that doesn't make any sense. So they don't do that. They click the button, then they get an error message about not opting into not being a robot, and then they leave. Or they hit it again, or sometimes they opt in. But it's just not a good experience. And as optimizers, we should be in control of the copy there. So I'm not a robot. Well, if we can optimize that copy, maybe we can make use of this. Maybe it is good, but they don't let you do that. There's no API to get in touch with it. You can't just, again, they're controlling our experience. Okay, number 7. Thou shalt align with thine self. It's hard speaking in like this old English stuff. Here's a great landing page, structurally excellent. It's to download a white paper. Now this is congruence I'm going to talk about. This is the aligning every element on your landing page with your campaign goal. Not your high-level business objectives, with your campaign goal. Again, this is one of the things that you can download. So what you do is, the goal here is to separate copy from design. So you fill this in. These are the elements of my landing page here. You just write them all in there. And then you put the content in there. And then you score it. Now remember, the campaign goal is to download a white paper. So you look at all this copy. Ocean of data instantly becomes security intelligence. It's not really even English. But what you do, you score it. If it's not aligned with your campaign goal, you get a 0. If it's partially aligned, you get a 1. If it's fully aligned, you get 2. So they scored like 3 out of 24, so 12.5%. It's terrible. But the good news is you now know that you have an alignment problem. So you can either rewrite or remove anything that's not aligned with your campaign goal. So here's an example that kind of plays on that. This is from the landing page course again. Now there's a psychological principle called the Hobson's +1 effect, where putting a link actually next to your call to action can be beneficial. Now, one of the theories is that people like to make successful choices. So if you give them another option, they feel good about the fact that they made a choice. So I want to test that. And other things as well. I mean, I'm kind of anchoring here a little bit. So this is free. You just have to click on the button, you get through. But then, or why don't you sign up and start a free trial of Unbounce? That's a bit aggressive at this point. Right? This is just content, and I'm saying, or you could open an account. 14% less people click the button with that link there. It's like, oh, okay, maybe they're clicking the link and they're all signing up. That would be amazing. Out of 2,000 people, 1 did that. Out of 2,000. So is it an attention ratio problem? Is it an anchoring problem? Is it, I don't know. But it was incongruent with the goal of the page, which was just to click through to the course. So it's a misalignment. Again, you can get that congruence worksheet. I hate this question. It's so common. It's HubSpot's fault. What's your biggest marketing challenge? Thou shalt not cause people to take the Xanax. Now, I'm an extreme insomniac. If I don't take some kind of medication, not Xanax, I don't fall asleep until exhaustion kicks in, and that can take 24 hours. So the interesting thing is I know exactly when and why that happened, that this started happening. I used to be a very technical, I was a programmer, then I went through different web kind of roles, ran a usability team, and then creative director. So I went from ones and zeros. I mean, there are lots of ways to code a problem, but once it works, you've kind of solved the problem. On the creative side, it's infinite. So when I changed roles, immediately my brain stopped turning off, which is why I hate this. What's your biggest marketing challenge? I don't know. Oh, is that the biggest one? I don't know. Maybe I should go ask someone. What's our biggest marketing challenge? It's just too much because it's infinite, right? You can type as much as you want in here. Here's an example of this. This is for Sun Brand Homes. The one at the bottom, and this is a required field. I'm thinking of building a spaceship to the fucking moon? A house, of course. Why are you asking me what I want to build on a house building site? It's just, These things can affect how we make decisions. I don't know if you've heard this one. This is scary. If you're ever in prison and you're up for parole, you need to have your parole hearing at the start of the day or just after a break. Because otherwise, the cognitive load, all this stress on the judge from hearing all of these scary things and making decisions, it depletes their ability to make a smart decision. So later in the day, you've got no hope of getting out, which is really, really unfair. Quickly, I'm running out of time. Closers are what I call the things you can add to a page to alleviate the anxiety. Right, they're positive influences. So here is an ebook download page. You can pay with an email or you can pay with a tweet. So social currency instead of an email. But is it going to tweet on my behalf? That's kind of anxiety laden. So just writing in there, you can personalize the tweet. You can edit the tweet before it goes out, removes that anxiety. Create a mobile website in 7 minutes, put in your URL. Ooh, what's it going to do to my website? Is it going to screw with it? Well, no. It tells you that it's not. Again, removing the anxiety. Save my seat. This is for a webinar registration. Even if you can't make it, sign up anyway, we'll send you the recording. That's speaking to the most common question in a webinar. Will there be a recording? It's event-based. You might not be able to make it. So that, again, reduces anxiety. I'll skip that one. Here's a simple thing you can do. Because things that are closer together, we think they're associated. So draw a line, a circle from your call to action a few inches out on the page and look inside it. Michael talked about spam. What are the words that are in there? Plot them all out. If there are any negative or weird words, delete them or move them further away from your call to action because it's very sensitive. That page again, right below, this is what Michael talked about, but if you look at the privacy statement, that's terrifying. There's so many nasty words in there. Okay, here's a lovely landing page. I love these guys, Lemon Stand. This is an ebook download page again. Now this is the confirmation page. Try Lemon Stand free for 14 days. It's a bit aggressive. Try it free. I just tried to download an ebook. Visual hierarchy, information hierarchy is an incredible way of improving or messing up your pages. So number 9, thou shalt worship information hierarchy. So let's fix this. It's quite easy. First, attention ratio. Get rid of that. It's so much nicer immediately. Now, this is what people want. They want confirmation. This. So let's bump that up. Now, oh yeah, I made a good click. I did this. I know when the ebook's coming. Everything's clear. Now I may actually read what else is on the page. And I would just use some ADD and bump that up, make sure people get the message. If I have, oh, all right. Okay. Form first design. You should design your form as if it's the only thing on the page. If it can communicate in isolation, it's going to be a lot more powerful. So you can get this. There's a, if anyone uses Balsamic, there's a wireframe you can download as well on that page. There are lots of ways you can construct a form. It's kind of like a mini landing page in itself. I'm going to have to skip through this, though. Here's a good example of it, though. It uses all these 6 elements of a good form. Here's a test I did. So here's the standard page. And I went quite extreme with this. There's only really a form area, nothing else. And I put the book thing there. It's got a headline, it's got some benefits, it's got your form, your call to action, and then the closer at the end. 17% increase. It's quite a dramatic change, but it's so simple because it's just a linear storytelling method. So you can grab that as well. Okay, last one. So I got this in my LinkedIn inbox. See if this is delightful or not. My people are your people. Out of all my professional contacts, I have chosen you as one of my 50 BBFs, business best friends. One of 50! I feel so lucky. Number 10, thou shalt not be a douchebag. I hate douchebaggery. There's this form again. So I filled this in because I'm a sucker for punishment. And this is the confirmation page. Let's step through this. Registration confirmed. Thank you for registering. You are now registered for the event. You will receive a confirmation email that contains detailed information about how to join. How hard can it be? The event will start at 2 p.m. Please join the event on time. Fuck you. I will show up as and when I download, please. And then there's a done button. You just told me 3 times that I'm done, and now you're asking me to confirm that I'm done. What's going to happen if I click this button? Is the page going to disappear? This is not a delightful experience. Congratulations. You're a douchebag. Here's another one. Look inside this form. We promise we won't spam you. Smiley face. You're being sarcastic about my privacy. Amy Africa, she will be on stage either tomorrow or the day after. Up at the top of this one is a hello bar. Want Amy in your inbox? Sadly, she won't fit, but her free webinar newsletter will. That's nice. I like that. I was hoping she'd be here because she'd think I was going to call her a douchebag. But I was on OkCupid. Single, fine, deal with it. And I saw this banner on the side. So I'm like, I'm a type geek, so I'm like, oh, I like the typography. I'm going to go and read this. I've chopped it up here. So normally there would be an ad in this spot, but you're using an ad blocker like a boss who hates ads, and that's cool, except that OkCupid is ad-supported, and we need money to run this beast. Here's a solution. You donate $5 to us once, and we remove all ads forever. You don't see garbage ads, and we make a little bit of money back. Everyone wins. That's really cool. I like that experience. All right, so just to recap some of this. One page, one purpose. So not only should it just be one thing to interact with, but one, like the alignment thing. Don't have multiple kind of messages on there. Don't be worried about extra fields, because I'm going to prove in the next few months that it's actually a good thing. Design your form as if nobody's watching. So if it can work on its own, you're really creating a nice framework for your page. Embrace ADD. Don't be a selfish marketer. CAPTCHAs are fucking horrible. Don't do that. Use that chart thing to your stop-and-go words around your CTA. And finally...
That's how I want to pop!
It's such a difficult challenge getting a video from Scotland for old people. Thank you.